Hi, this is Dave with DK Cattle Company. If you're thinking about adding pigs to your small farm or homestead, don't do it. It's not worth it. No, I'm kidding. But I just got pigs for the first time this year, and there's a lot of things that I wish I would have knew going into it before getting them that I know now, and I'm going to share that in this video. So the first thing is really having the right setup for them. People aren't lying when they say pigs are extremely smart. They are so smart, and that's something that I very much didn't anticipate. I mean, you hear people say that, but you don't really understand like how that's going to manifest in the animal. And for pigs, what they use their intelligence for is they eat food, they drink water, they sleep and poop, and when they're not doing those four things, they are figuring out how to destroy stuff. So if you don't have a completely bomb-proof setup for them, you're going to have a terrible time with pigs. And that has been my experience thus far. For example, I had one of those automatic waterers that fill up nice, they have nice fresh water all the time, and the hose went through the wall. There's like that much space between the wall and the hose. They ripped that hose through the wall, pulled the hose from the automatic water and broke it. I moved them in here a couple days ago, and the feeder was mounted to the wall. I walked by here yesterday, just broken out in the middle of their little enclosure here. So if there's a way to break something, they will. So that's really the biggest thing when bringing pigs onto your property, is you have to have not just a setup for them, but a bulletproof setup for them. So that was one thing I was really naive to, and you really need a really bomb-proof setup for pigs. I'm very much learning about pigs through this process and learning like how they actually act and what they actually do on a day-to-day basis. One thing that's very popular right now is pasture pigs, regeneratively moving pigs, and using pigs through the woods and stuff like that. I really wanted to do that. I was really excited to do that with these pigs. I didn't really have the money for the extra mobile electric fencing for them. I have to figure that situation out with my cows this year. So I didn't do that, and I'm so glad I didn't. Not because I don't want to do that, but because I'm learning so much about pigs in this environment right now that if I did that, I know I would have set up myself for failure, and it just would have ended up being a huge headache because I wouldn't have known like how these pigs are going to act. So if you want to do like a pasture pig or a pig in the woods situation, like a silvopasture situation, I would really recommend having them in a more contained situation like I have them right now for at least a year or two. Like figure out the shortcomings and pitfalls of the pigs, and then move to a system that you have electric fencing, you're moving them through the woods and stuff, because I'm telling you, like, there's a lot of things that they think about that you're not going to think about. So I'm going to show you my setup and how I have the pigs now and what I've had to do to make up for some things that they have destroyed and things of that nature. So Rome wasn't built in a day, but this enclosure was. I just took, what is it, four 4x4s, dug some holes, concreted them in real fast, and then took some woven wire that I had left over from the cow fencing and just wrapped it around. It's not super tight. It's definitely looser than my fence over there, but I just decided that I'm going to do it pretty loose because the posts were still setting up. I didn't want to have to worry about bracing them or anything like that. So it's tight enough for what we're doing, and if they try to burrow underneath it, I'm just going to throw some big rocks. I have some big rocks over here. I'm just going to throw them like in the middle of the sections, and that should be fine. And they haven't tested this fence too much, but look how tore up this is. They've been in here for a couple days, I think 4 days now, and this is how tore up it is. It is true that pigs are extremely clean animals. Like I had them in a 10x8 area, these 3 pigs in a 10x8 area, and I would only have to clean it like every 2 weeks because they would poop and pee in the same spot and they would sleep in the same spot, so they kept it relatively clean. And they'll do the same thing in this situation, but they're just tearing up everything because that's what they like to do. So everything in this section, like obviously the lean-to and this like covered area and stuff, was here prior to us buying the property. Obviously, like, it's been here for a long time. The only thing I added was the posts and the fence. I want to keep the fence section intact in case I need to use it in the future. So I did kind of leave this extra off of it, but they're already starting to mess with it. So I might end up cutting it off anyway, but that's what we're doing for now. So a little hillbilly, but it is what it is. Like they're already trying to get into this corner, but I threw these rocks here and it doesn't look any different than it did the other day when they started doing that. But the thing that's nice is I have this doorway, and then I have that opening there, so I don't have to go in there with them to feed them. And then I have I think this is a 15-gallon waterer and a nipple. So why we went from the automatic waterer to the nipple is that they broke the automatic waterer because they got access to the hose, which they had to try to get access to the hose, and they did, and then they broke it. And then B, I've really realized that with pigs, they really, really like super clean water. They want their water supply to be, you know, your quality of water. They don't want anything in it. So this nipple allows the water to obviously stay clean because they're not putting their dirty snouts in it or anything like that. So it allows it to stay clean, and there's no waste. They can't waste any water. So instead of going through say 10 gallons a day, we're going through like 5 gallons a day, or even less than that, to be honest. So that's worked out really well. This is our feeder, and it is nice because I can fill it right here, and I don't have to worry about like going in there with them and stuff. I wish I would have got the bigger one, but the bigger one was also like $250, and this one was like $100. So, and the only difference was the amount of like spaces. Like one was 2 and then this one was 1, and it was literally twice as much money for the 2-head one. So I just got the 1-head one. So I just screwed it through the wall before, but I had to add this 2x4, and I had 2 screws before, but I added 3 screws, so 1 in the middle and 1 on each side to really secure it to the wall, because they did end up ripping out of the wall, which I didn't think that they were gonna do, but they did. So in closing, really the biggest thing with pigs is that if there's something that they can break, they will. You really have to over-engineer everything and overbuild everything, and understand that they're going to try to break anything that you introduce to them with impunity, and they're not going to give you any grace with anything that is underbuilt. So like I said at the beginning of the video, these are my first pigs ever. I don't have a lot of experience, but that's why I wanted to make this video, is to share all the shortcomings that I had. And kind of be able to laugh about it now, but then also warn you and help you if you're thinking about adding pigs to your homestead or small farm, that you can avoid making these mistakes for yourself. Please like this video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Comment how you raise pigs on your farm or homestead, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I am very, very, very happy with the channel's growth so far. The responses I've gotten, the comments I've gotten, the amount of views that I've gotten have been absolutely crazy for the age of YouTube channel. We've only been doing this for a month now, and the amount that I've shared the videos, I've probably shared 3 videos on 2 groups or 3 groups on Facebook. So I'm not overly sharing these videos or making a bunch of shorts and stuff, and I really appreciate the organic reach that I've gotten already, and I really appreciate your viewership and subscribing to the YouTube channel and watching my videos. So thank you, and have a good day. Bye.